Good evening and welcome. So, I think I'm live. If anybody can see me, I mean, Casey's in the house, Leanne Vine's in the house, Michael McLaughlin's in the house. Can you hear me nice and clear? Good evening, Tracy Dodge. Tracy Dodge. Nigel, you have to turn that off because else it's going to interfere.
All right, hang on. Hold on. Gone mad here.
Just switch off the video recording of it and just listen to me on Messenger. Can you hear me, Nigel? Hello, Nigel. Just bear with us, everybody. We're trying to.
I turned my microphone off just a second ago. Can you hear me?
I can hear you nice and clear now. Yeah. Here you're back on.
That's weird. Hang on.
Hello, Nigel.
Hello.
Just bear with us, everybody. We're trying to. You need to switch that off, Nigel. You need to switch off the live video, Nigel, and just be on Messenger. We have Germany calling, as Graham says. You need to switch off the live video, Nigel, and just be on Messenger. Isn't it funny technology?
All right, hang on.
We have Germany calling, as Graham says. Oh, you have to bear with us, everyone. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Isn't it funny technology?
Isn't it just?
There you are. I got rid of him. How about that? I got rid of him, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring him back up, and I hope he's not on YouTube because I just said to him, "Don't be on YouTube. Just be on Messenger." And he's on YouTube because I can hear myself in the background. So I'm going to give him another ring and see if he's available. This was supposed to be sorted.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Nigel. It's Chris Upton here. How are you doing?
Good. Right, I'm now on my phone.
Good for you. Germany calling, still problems.
All right, well, necessary. I'll just have to listen. I'll have to watch you on the computer and speak over the phone then.
No, you don't need to watch me on the computer. That's what's causing the problem.
All right, okay.
You just need to. I know I'm good looking, but you don't need to look at me. You just need to speak to me over the phone.
All right, fair enough. I got you on the phone then.
Right, so we're on the phone. Right.
Battery 100%. Connected to Christopher's iPad. Connected to Upton's iPhone.
Can you hear me, Nigel? Hello? This is England.
Hello?
This is England calling Germany.
Connected to Christopher's iPad and Upton's iPhone.
Honestly, technology is unbelievable. Can you hear me?
I've got another voice in the background.
No, I've got your voice nice and clear here. You must be
I can
listening.
hear you now.
You must be listening to it on something else.
Well, it's only on my phone, so shouldn't be anything else.
Well, it's absolutely lovely and clear here now. Just do whatever you're doing, but don't do anything else what you're not doing.
All right, then. We'll stay like this.
Yeah, so magic. Well done. So good evening, everybody. Sorry about that. We were trying to NASA Upton, Earth calling Nigel. It's only Germany. It's only Germany, everybody. Anyway, so welcome, everybody. Chris Upton in the house and Nigel from Germany. Nigel, would you like to explain to people on here what part of Germany you're from?
I live in a place called Walsrode, which is between Hamburg, Hanover, and Bremen, so fairly much in the north.
So can everybody hear that quite clearly? We're just waiting for a reply from the internet, if they can hear it clearly. the conversation. Yeah, they can hear it. They can hear it nice and clear. So, welcome everybody to the this evening. I thought we'd try something a little bit different, and we'd bring Nigel in here to explain to you about the German way of licensing for Gundog training. How about that for anybody? So, Nigel, if you'd like to fire away with anything you want to ask, or tell everybody a little bit about your way of training and why you have to be licensed and how you get licensed. And I'll jump in with some questions if anybody's got anything on here. Go for it, Nigel.
Okay, well, when you do your hunter's license in Germany, which is quite a long-winded procedure, actually took me 2 days a week or 2 evenings a week at night school for about 9 months. They're very, it's very specific over here to get a hunting license. Goes into an awful lot of detail, and one of the things in German law is for certain types of hunting, you have to have a licensed hunting dog at least available for your hunting area. And if you actually shooting any birds, especially on water, you have to have a licensed hunting dog with you. That's what the law states.
Lovely. And how much does that cost you, Nigel, in English, roughly, not Deutschmark?
Well, I did my hunting license about, about 10, 15 years ago. And I suppose including all the shooting and everything else, all the ammunition and everything else, probably about best part 2,000 quid.
£2,000. Did you hear that, everybody? £2,000. So what is required of your dog to make the grade and get the certification that you need?
Well, you need the minimum you need is what they call a brauchbare Hund, which means a useful dog. There are various different types of examination for various different types of dogs. Like some dogs are just specialists that just do blood work, and they only have to do the blood work exam, which means that
is this for tracking? Is this for tracking, Nigel?
Yeah, this is for tracking something like a deer or a boar that's been shot.
Yeah. So can we stick to gundogs for working in the field? A gundog to work in the field. Could you give more insight into that?
Okay. Well, I'll explain what I've done with my two my spaniels. One of my spaniels hasn't passed the test yet. We're working on that. And the other one has. And the jobs that you're required to do is also tracking, which is tracking a deer or something that's been obviously not a real one, but it's been a laid track overnight. That's 400 to 500 meters, normally through a forest. And then you have you do a trail across like a field. You have to pull a duck like a couple of 100 yards across a field with a zigzag in it, and they have to run that track. And you do the same with a rabbit through a forest for about 400 yards. Then you have to find some lost game. You can throw it into something like a cornfield or something like that, and the dog the dog doesn't see it thrown in there, and you just send the dog to find it. And then you have the water work. The water work is the more difficult thing. The first part of the water work is to see whether the dog is shot shy on water, which means you'll throw a dead duck in. The dog will be sent to get hold of it, and you will place a shot on the water, probably about 3 or 4 meters from the dog. Now, when the dogs retrieve that straight to you without any words, once you send the dog, you're not allowed to say another word. Then they will hide a duck somewhere in the reeds or something similar, and you have to send your dog across the water to find and retrieve the duck. And once it's done that, they will put a live duck in the reeds, and the dog will do the same thing, and the dog should flush the duck, at which point you should shoot it, and the dog must bring it to you. So that's a basic sketch of the various disciplines you have to achieve for that.
So when you put the live duck out, are you dizzying it or not?
Yeah, they actually put some crepe paper around one of the wings so that it can't fly off straight away.
So when the dog
Once the crepe paper
gets wet,
yeah, so when it gets wet, it'll probably be able to fly after about a minute.
Yeah. Because
we got the Green Party trying to close us down on that at the moment, but that's still at the moment it's still allowed.
That wouldn't be allowed in this country.
No, I'm expecting it to be banned here as well soon.
Right. So, how do you practice these things with a gun dog to get this certification? Are you allowed to go out with your gun and teach the dog?
You are allowed to go out with your gun and teach the dog as long as you're in a hunting revier where it's either yours, which the German system is that the whole of the country is broken up into hunting areas, and these hunting areas are then rented basically by somebody. But as it's quite an expensive thing, they normally have people who have a permission to shoot in this area. So as long as you're training your dog in your hunting area at the time of year you're allowed to train them, then you're okay. Or if I'm obviously training with somebody else, if it's their area and I've got permission on that day to go and train with them.
Right, that makes sense.
But I can carry a gun. Then I can carry my gun and shoot in the area.
And what age do they normally test these dogs then?
They'll start testing them probably anything between a year and 3 or 4 years, depending on how far the dog is. I mean, there are various tests. I mean, you have with thoroughbreds, they do what they call a youth examination, which is basically just to see if the dog has got the natural abilities it needs. But that doesn't qualify it to actually do anything.
So are you saying the dog doesn't need to be a pedigreed dog, or it has to be a thoroughbred?
They're trying to change the law. At the moment, it actually has to be a pedigreed dog, or at least a dog that looks very much like a pedigree. Like if you've got somebody that hasn't got a pedigree, but you can see that it's a short-haired pointer, and you know it's come from 2 short-haired pointers, that's allowed. But they're trying to sort of open the door to let virtually any dog in, which obviously the breeders are not into at all.
Right. So the test for passing the certification, is it the same for all breeds of gun dog?
You can do specific ones. As I said in the beginning, you can have one where they just do the trailing, and those dogs do nothing but that.
No, I'm talking about the hunting.
The hunting, well, yeah, that's pretty much the same for everything. That's the problem I have. It doesn't matter whether I've got a spaniel or a Labrador or a short-haired pointer or a Münsterländer. Pretty much for the Brauchbacher, it's proving that it's exactly the same for everyone.
So what I'm saying is it? I'm talking about when I say hunting, actually not hunting with a gun, but the quartering, as we say, the pattern of the dog. Is it the same for every dog?
They're not interested in that at all.
Exactly. That's why I asked that question, because we've spoke about this.
We have.
Sol said he's loving that ability rather than pedigree, but not all the pro trainers would agree with that, would they?
No. The problem I see we've got this various different types of dogs, and of course it's going to appeal to Sol because there's a lot of pointers over here, but they very seldom get used as pointers should be used.
Right.
I very seldom see them actually point. They're pretty much used as general purpose dogs.
General purpose dogs.
Yeah.
Not breed specific, as in the job that they were bred to do.
Not really. It doesn't seem to me to be that way. The majority of the time in Germany, they're hunting for deer, boar, and the like.
So what about an important issue then? Hunting within gun range. If you're going to shoot over each dog in the same sort of format because it's a Gundog?
The majority of the time, well, they're not interested in the actual exam about that. All they're interested in the examination is to actually what happens after you shot something, how the dog finds it. They never actually test you for your hunting ability of your dog, the quartering ability of your dog. I mean, they don't even stop the dog on the whistle.
Right, lovely.
They have a recall whistle, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's handy. That's handy then, as long as you got a recall.
Well, that doesn't work most of the time.
So it's an easy certificate to get then, really. Then, if you think about it, as long as it recalls.
Well, as long as it finds things and brings them back, that's really it.
Well, there you go then. That's the safety factor in itself, isn't it? A humane factor in itself. As long as you find it and bring it back if I shoot it.
That is the main thing that they're after. They don't actually seem to really be very interested in what the dog does before the shot. They're not really interested in the ability of a dog to flush.
I wonder,
it's a bit strange.
I wonder how many people are in the group at the moment, and we've got quite a few in the group, would be happy to pay 500 quid to prove your dog can retrieve a bird back to you.
Probably not.
Hey, would you like a license? You guys in the UK, here's us under scrutiny with the firearms licensing and all that. Would you like another license? Would you? Okay. Can your dog retrieve a duck off a pond or a pheasant? Tax. Exactly. That's what it seems like. Because let's be honest, if a dog is hunting within range, it's going to be completely different to a pointer compared to a spaniel, a Springer Spaniel, or a Cocker Spaniel. Or with a Labrador, okay, you're not going to have it hunting like you want a spaniel hunting, are you? So you can't put the emphasis on this is the rules and these rules have got to be adhered to, because the rules change with each breed specific, doesn't they?
It should be like that.
Else we might as well go for the hinds, like Sol says. It's rather than the pedigree, it's about the ability. But I agree with what Sol is saying. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be great if the Kennel Club in this country opened it up for any gun dog, whether it's registered or not registered, because that's just a money maker, isn't it? Right? Yeah. But is a Chihuahua or a Dachshund standing any chance really against a Springer Spaniel for hunting in the field? No. But could it do it? Yeah, you could put it through its paces, couldn't you?
You could make it do all sorts of strange things. I've got a friend of mine who actually has got a border terrier, and that actually will retrieve ducks off a pond.
Yeah, but off a pond. But will it bring a goose off a lake onto a dry land? It might get it across the lake, but it wouldn't get it across the mud flaps or reeds or anything like that. It would end up drowning if it's that determined and it stayed in there trying to bring it back, and it wasn't a good recall, wouldn't it? Because
that's right.
What technically, what have we got training for? Safety, a good day out with your dog, your partnership that you've got. I think it's wonderful that we listen to other people, everybody who's listening. And I thank Nigel, but let's ask Nigel this question. How long have you been following Corleone Gundogs?
Actually, quite a long time. I first come across you before you lost all your videos. I used to watch them actually before I got a Springer. And then you sort of disappeared, and then I got the Springer. So, but I think we've actually known each other for just about a year now, just almost exactly a year. Is the first time I came to you for lessons.
So, had you had dogs before that, Nigel, as in spaniels?
No, my first spaniels were the ones you met.
Did that have any influence on you by watching my videos, thinking, "Oh, I want to go out and get a spaniel and do some shooting over a spaniel"?
I think it definitely did. The thing is, I'm a bit the odd man out here, being the Englishman in New York, as it were. I'm being the Englishman in Germany, because I tend to think of shooting more in English ways than I do in German ways. I like to actually go rough shooting. I like to go after woodcock, pigeons, things like that. And the Germans, there's certain areas in Germany where they do have a lot more birds, but it's nowhere near as equivocal to England with the amount of pheasants and things. But I think I was definitely influenced by the videos that I saw before he was taken down. towards my choice, and then got sort of caught up in this German hunting exam thing I had to do, and basically, in some ways, I put a lot of mistakes into my first dog because I tried to make him do something that wasn't natural to him.
But hang on, you say the first dog, is that the dog you've got now?
Yeah, that's Sam, the dog.
But let's give people a little bit of insight into this. We won't mention who you bought it from. What was that laugh for, Nigel? I know, but we didn't mention any names. But why did you laugh, Nigel?
Yeah, it was because we went through that. Yeah, we've been over that one.
No, but do you want to talk about it and not talk about it? I was listening to a podcast today, and I thought, isn't it a shame that he wants to say what he wants to say, but he's not saying what he wants to say because he wants to remain PC. I'm not talking about naming the person, but can I go as far ahead to say that these dogs were supposed to be trained?
The first one wasn't. The first one I got as a pup, but the second one was 18 months old, and I was sold it under the dupes of being partially trained.
Yeah, right. So partially trained. So that gives all I'm saying is it gives people a little bit of insight into what you went for. So I didn't know that. I thought the first one was partly trained. No, so the first one wasn't partly trained.
No, the first one was completely and utterly cocked up by me on my own.
Right. So that this was after you've been watching my videos. You cocked it up. How dare you?
No, I wouldn't say that.
You said you were watching me before you got the dog.
Yes, I was, and I think that's probably one of the reasons. I did use some of the methods, Corleone methods, but I didn't use them to their fullest, and because I was sort of sidetracked by having to do what I had to do over here.
Yeah, because when you know me, there must be something wrong with me because I tend to say it the way I see it, don't I?
That's perfectly fine. I think it's great.
I don't tend to hold back. Where is it people with not Tourette's? That's people with not bipolar. I don't know what do you call it. They sometimes are a little bit too honest because of the way they are mentally, and I think we're all mentally disturbed in some way. Perhaps someone else could tell me on here because I do know what I am talking about, but I'm not making it easy for people to understand. Is it bipolar people? No, I don't know. Not OCD. She says a cheeky cow in the background. She's a cheeky cow in the background, isn't she? OCD. People with what's name syndrome. So should know. He should help me out here. They tend to just say what they feel, so they've got no sort of filter. That's what I was trying to say.
They used to call it honesty, didn't they? Once upon a time.
No, yeah, but it's actually people with like a Tourette's. No, is it Tourette's? It just comes out to bollocks.
That's why you swear all the time. Isn't
it? Yeah. It might be. No, Soul said it's Tourette's. I thought Tourette's was something to do with cigarettes. Anyway, I'm just messing it up here for you, really. Now, what I'm saying is, I tend to say it the way I see it. I don't mean to go and offend people on a big way, but I tend to sort of. And let's be honest, when you came to me, Nigel, you didn't have a freaking clue.
No, I didn't. No.
And I like the fact that you have got that honesty, and that's not rubbishing you in any way. I love the fact that you came to us, autism. Thank you, Julian, for Christ's sake. I knew there was someone in the house who knew what they're talking about. Tourette's. Tourette's. He's trying to screw us up, Dr. Soul. Anyway. Yeah, so at least we got there originally. Thank God for that. Julian, you win the prize. You get a squirrel skin. We'll send it in the post. Yeah, so what I'm saying is they don't have a filter, do they? They just say it as they see it. I have got a filter to a certain extent, but sometimes I just say what I feel. And if it upsets, I apologize, but it's the way I am. If you see me keep doing that, we got these freaking it's because of the weather. It's been so wet. We got these little tiny flies coming in. They drive me freaking mad. I just want to kill them all. So if you see me doing that, it's not that I've got Tourette's, right? And I'm waving to you all. It's the fact that I'm trying to catch these little tiny freaking flies, and they come to this light. That's the problem. They see the light. That's what you're supposed to do in it. Look for the light in the tunnel. Yeah. So stop it, Leanne. I'm not clapping. I'm not waving to you all. But it's really interesting talking to Nigel, because Nigel has been following the videos and he's an active member and a very welcome bloke as well. He's such a nice chap. He's great to have in the group. He's keen. He's keen as mustard. He wants to learn. He wants to pick up the knowledge. Steve says, I get what Soul want. I meant was train a pointer like a pointer and train a spaniel like a spaniel, but the same across. I think Steve's got autism.
Probably.
I get that. So what you meant was train a pointer like a pointer and train a spaniel like a spaniel, but the same across the world. Well, I don't know, because let's be honest, and this is me again, isn't it? I'm going to lose some members or lose some people who are a little bit sort of sensitive. A lot of the American pointer people are like freaking roughnecks, aren't they? They're a little bit like, let the dog chase it, let the dog catch it in midair. Oh, it's great fun. The dog's killed it. Not everybody wants that, but there's a lot of that out there, isn't it? It's like gung ho, isn't it? Where they laugh at us with the English way sometimes and our gentlemanly conduct that we try to portray in the field. Like, technically, you're not supposed to be using live game for training. Now, we know it happens, but you wouldn't put it up in a video unless you're a fool. Because in this country, you could be in trouble. Now, you could argue about the not ethnic, what's the freaking word? Ethical. Thank you there. The ethical side of it, and in fairness, the Americans are no way PC when it comes to dogs. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. But I've got a lot of friends across the pond, and a lot of them have gone over to our way of training. And what Nigel is saying, and if tell me if I'm wrong, Nigel, you're saying the Germans have got their way, but you've watched the Corleone way and you prefer the Corleone way, and you just don't understand why perhaps some of the rules are set as they are for proving your dog, really, isn't it? As in getting qualification for your dog. It's a lovely thing, isn't it? I think it's a great idea, but it's flawed if they've not analysed it and worked it properly. It's like saying your dog in this country, if you got the Bronze Citizens Award, is a guaranteed Gundog. It's not, is it?
Well, it's a bit of all sort of one cap fits all. Okay, to a certain degree, and I don't think the more and more I become more involved in the spaniel ways and understanding my dogs and what they can actually do straight out of the box, what's actually bred into them, the more I realise they can't do certain things. They can't do things that pointers can do or Labradors could do. To a degree they can, but the other way around, pointers and Labradors can't do what a spaniel does.
Exactly.
So I think, it's got to be horses for courses. And that's the whole problem with this system here, is it's all a bit sort of much of a oneness.
But if you looked at it in a slightly different light and you said, what is the all-round Gundog? Come on, everyone. This is for you out there, everybody in the group. There's 30 of you in here. I want to see 30 answers. What do you think is the best all-round jack of all trades when it comes to a Gundog? Now, you can be biased if you want to, but be honest. All round for what? All round for what? All round for what? A Gundog. An all-round dog. You want it to work on the water. You want to work on the land. You want to be able to shoot over it. You want to be able to stand it there where you shoot over it. So it could be a peg dog warming it. Then it can be in the beating line. Where, you can take it rough shooting. You can take it on the rabbits. You can take it, on the grouse. An all-round, not breed specific. What would you say?
We've got a few Labradors, mainly Springers.
I like that with Tracy. Tracy says Springer, and she's a Labrador person. Good old Tracy.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Well
done, Tracy.
I mean, look at that. Look, Leanne, look. She's just being bloody. Oh, look. Now, I think Labradors are fantastic because, other than hunting, and as in head down like a spaniel, They're not going to touch a cocker or a springer for that. But as an all-round gun dog, if you want a nice, easy, trainable dog that majority of the time responds well, then I think Labradors are great. If you've got a sense of humor, I'm not going to try and put words in people's mouths here. If you've got a sense of humor and you've seen the videos we got in Corleone Talk and you've seen the videos out there, tell me what dog you would go for if you had a real good sense of humor.
That's a good one.
Cocker, Peter Pan, got Glumber. Sue says Glumber. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. Pointers are absolutely fantastic. But I think you've got to have a sense of humor to have a pointer. GSP, there, Steve. Yeah, you've got to have a sense of humor. So if you've got a sense of humor and you don't mind failure, then there's nothing wrong with going down that sort of specialist route, is there, of having a pointer. But you're going to have to compromise if you haven't got the facilities to train the pointer on where he's going to stand out and look the best. I was watching a good dog lady who's been into gun dogs as long as I have, called Sarah Chichester. And if you put up and she's up in Scotland on the grouse moors working setters. Absolutely beautiful to watch. But you have to be that sort of way. She owns a shooting estate, or she owns a big country manor. That I've been there. That is literally like something like the National Trust have those houses. If you've got the money and you've got the time and you've got the commitment, I think they're an absolute wonderful dog to get behind, shoot over, or work, or watch them work in the environment that they were bred to do. And don't get me wrong, I've seen them to be turned into versatile dogs that they go in on the beating line and they'll flush, but they'll stop and point. But I've seen them that's all they want them to do, flush and point. Then they'll go over and kick the bird out or ask somebody to put another dog in the beating line. There's a bird in there. Can you knock it out? Because they don't want the dog following through by chasing. Yeah. Because the game finishes there, if you think about it, if you haven't got a gun in your hand, have you? And you're in the beating line with a pointer.
That's right.
So if you want that pointer to be steady, that you can then go out and shoot over it on a regular basis in the environment that you take it out on upon the hills, and it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. As long as you're in the beating line and you're getting nothing but your dog pointing and holding the point, he's doing what it's bred to do, isn't it? Finding, pointing, and then somebody else goes in and flushes it. Then you're going to keep your dog to the level that you want when you're carrying the gun, aren't you? But if your dog is going in and flushing and learning to do what a spaniel does, or even sending in a Labrador, and Labradors don't point, Labradors will flush, won't they, if they're looking for birds, and birds are sitting there wounded, they'll flush them and they'll chase them and they'll run them down and they'll bring them back if they're wounded. Some of them will try and run them down when they're not even frigging it, and they just pop back into the pen because there's got no control. But the good thing about a spaniel, German pointer when you're getting older. No, I think you need German pointer when you're 12. Yeah. When you're 12 and you can walk 60,000 miles and think it's fun. Right?
I think the biggest problem we have over here, Chris, is that the nearly everyone here's got pointers. The majority of people have got pointers, but they don't use them like pointers.
Well, there you go. So is the standard of pointers in Germany good?
For pointing, they're rubbish. To be honest with you.
That's terrible. How can you say such a thing?
Yeah, well, that's what I see. I mean, they use them for hunting boar and hunting everything.
Well, I think, are you hanging around with the right people, Nigel? Are you hanging around with the right people?
No, I tend to hang around with the Labrador people. There's a few of them around, so they're fairly like-minded at least.
No laugh out loud pointers on no plodder. Labs are for old fellas. Yeah, exactly. You're dead right, Michael. Pointers are not for old men.
No.
Is the standard of pointers in the UK any good? David, you're trying to get me in trouble here. You're trying to get me in trouble. Let me just say, why do they call them German pointers?
Good question. Well, that's probably where they originally breed, weren't they? Because you got the short hair, the long hair, then the wire hair.
See what Sol said? You want Italian or French pointers? See, Germans have got it wrong.
Well, you got things like Munsterländer, you've got poodle pointers, you've got Griffons. They're all pointers.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. But it depends. It depends how you train them, what you want them for. You know, if you want them for retrieving a duck off a pond, they're not the best dogs for water work, are they?
They can do it adequately, but they aren't the best dogs for water work.
Well, you know, anybody on here, you call me out. Call me out. Are they the best for water work? I would put up a Labrador any day for water work, because the chance of the freaking Labrador coming back is great.
Yeah. What have we got there? They are Munsterländer mixes, are they not?
Oh, you are watching it. You can answer the questions. I'm just sitting here trying to help you. Yeah, I thought you were running blind.
No, I'll put it up now. Munsterländer actually are a German pointer cross with a Spaniel, as far as I know.
Oh my God, they're crossing Spaniel. Hey, so a Spaniel? You want a Munsterländer?
Yeah, they do a large Munsterländer and a small Munsterländer, and they actually quite often, a friend of mine actually breeds small Munsterländer, and they quite often get mixed up with my Spaniels. They keep calling my Spaniels Munsterländer.
They need freaking glasses then, don't they?
Well, the ears are different. The snout's a little bit different, but you can see that you can see the Spaniel in the Munsterländer, put it that way.
See this here? This is why you don't need breed specifics. You can just mix it up, can't you?
Don't know about
that. David Jones, is it the nail on the head? If you want to cover big areas, pointers are great. I agree 100%. There's nothing better if you want to walk miles with your walking boots, hill climbing boots, and you go up on the moor and you watch a pointer take in the moor, and if he does his job and goes to point rather than chase, and he produces, there's nothing more beautiful.
Yep, true.
It's wonderful to watch. It's majestic. And when you see two, one honoring the other, it's even more majestic. But when you walk like a freaking lunatic across rough ground to get to the dog, and before you get to it, it breaks and chases the freaking thing into the distance, you think, bastard. And when you get there and it's false pointed, it's like, bastard. I didn't need to run towards the dog or get to the dog that quick. But I say horses for courses, and I'm not in any way an expert on pointing dogs, but I love watching all Gundogs. Munsterlanders are great, large or small, but they are pointers. What if they've got Spaniel in them?
Yeah, well, they did, but they do tend to stay a bit closer than they seem to be a little bit more on the nose.
So if they've got Spaniel in them, David Jones, false pointers, double bastards. Exactly, he could double bastard. Yeah, false point. Imagine you walking up like Mr. Magoo with your gun in it, and you go, "Come in, Mr. Magoo," and you get all the way out there, and there's a freaking false point. And then you let the dog go, and then the thing gets up 40 feet away. The dog didn't freaking do its job properly. Never mind. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not all about killing, is it? It's about having fun out there. And if you like walking and you like covering miles and miles and miles without a dog, but you eventually find the dog, hopefully, then, you know, I'm not knocking them. I'm saying it's horses for courses. I would agree with what people said on here. For older people, I'd say a Labrador is the best thing you could have. It's a good all-rounder to a certain extent. But to someone who likes to shoot and have quick, short, sharp shooting, you can't beat a cocker or a springer for the contact flush. And we talk about that contact flush. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for a dog to point. We were talking about this the other day. But one of the things in Germany for Nigel is there's certain areas they can shoot and there's certain areas you can't shoot. Am I right, Nigel?
Well, no, you have your own area. Germany's actually cut up into, well, big slices of places that you can have, and you can rent a revier. And it depends where you are, what type of game you have on it. But you can't just sort of wander across anyone's field, or even ask the farmer. He is actually by law said, well, your part of the land has to go to this consortium that will then rent it out.
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. That's why I wanted you to ask that question to let people know how lucky we are in this country by knocking on, a farm door. You can sometimes get shooting that easy, and all sorts of terrain that may suit a Labrador for walked up. You could take somebody with you and have a Labrador walked up and give the dog the retrieve you want to give it. You could have the Spaniel for flushing. A lot of people will work a Spaniel for flushing, Labrador for retrieving. It's down to all sorts of courses. But as an all-rounder, I've always found the Spaniel outbeats the other Gundogs for an all-round dog, in my opinion.
I think we've got to look at the question is, what can the Spaniel not do? And I think for English hunting, there's not much it can't do. Here it's a little bit different. I mean, I have done, but I wouldn't normally take my dogs out if we're going to be hunting boar or anything like that.
Right. So no, you'd take your bloody sausage dog, wouldn't you?
Well, your best bet to take your terrorists, take your dachshund, your dachshund.
Michael McLaughlin, Spaniels won't cover massive ground areas. I don't know. I've walked my arse off with Spaniels and they've covered a hell of a lot of ground, more ground than I could freaking walk. But I wouldn't say they open up, because at the end of the day, why would you want your dog opening up? You want to be able to shoot things and kill it within gun range, surely.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the reason that I would think on those grounds. But let's go back to what Sol says here. Where is it? Munsterlanders, yeah, are bred with Spaniels as well as pointers, yeah. Yes or no?
As far as I know, there's Spaniel in a Munsterland. You can actually see it. To be honest with you.
Right. So are you supposed to honour the point or just the flush?
They're a pointer. They come on the same as a GSP.
But what if the trait of there's more Spaniel in it than Munsterlander? Or do they only allowed to do it by law so many generations back or whatever? I don't know.
I have no idea, because I mean they're a fairly old race, but they put Spaniel into it somewhere along the line.
Yeah. All right.
Sometimes they've got a dog here called a Wachtelhund.
A what?
Which looks like a Wachtel is called, which actually looks like a slightly oversized cocker.
Right.
That has got somewhere along the line. It's got Spaniel in it. I'm no authority on it, but I did read somewhere that many years ago that the Germans started breeding English Spaniel into various types of dogs for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Probably the days they were experimenting on things,
So where do you think the Clumber come from then?
No idea.
You reckon it was some fat estate owner who wanted some dog that he could keep up with? Stop it. Stop it.
Who's got an Irish water spaniel? That's a very strange looking beast.
Good on the water though.
I've not seen it actually work on water.
Problem with Irish water spaniels, they collect potatoes.
And drink poachine.
Stop it. Yeah, Steve says, is that German for Sprocker, Nigel?
No, it ain't. As far as I know.
Yeah, look, Sol says large Munsters, freaking Munsters, look like setters but point. Small Munsters look like Spaniels but point.
Yeah, it's probably not far off there, actually.
There you go. There you go. So technically, it's all fucked up.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing about. I think a Munsterländer is probably a little bit more. Is definitely more biddable than something like a GSP or a wire hair or something like that.
I think Michael McLaughlin has been. I think Michael's been drinking tonight. I think they bred English Springer Spaniels for biddable dogs. Have you seen Jeff's?
Put Jeffs together with a GSP.
Technically, we want to breed for trainability, don't we? Technically, you know, that's why we're so particular about these lines and competition and ability, trainability, temperament. But some people will just throw a spaniel with a spaniel and go, that's a spaniel, and at the end of the day, train it. And I can't go, hang on, you know, that dog's just not got the temperament. We've got to get the best out of the dog, don't we? It's as simple as that. Yeah. And some dogs are far more biddable than others. And I think that's the same with pointers, isn't it? Isn't it the fact that a German pointer is supposed to be able to kill, and you know, and it doesn't matter about the mouth? Or
I did actually witness today training on this pond somebody with a pointer, and it was starting to show hard mouth because it was getting a bit excited about bringing in the duck.
Lucky they kill it. Lucky they kill it.
It started chewing. It started looking like it was chewing. And
yeah. Well, isn't the fact that, am I right or am I wrong? You know, tell me, people. Isn't the fact that people like the German pointers because they actually have to kill? If they can kill a fox, it's a real asset.
They will kill a fox, yeah.
And I thought most bred for money. Am I wrong? Sorry, Nigel. Say that again, please, because I don't want to put any words in your mouth. They will kill a fox.
The pointer will kill a fox.
Do you think the pointer should kill a fox?
I don't think they're really supposed to, but they will bring back they'll go and retrieve a fox, and if it's not dead, it will be what time it gets back. Well, that's my experience of what I've seen them do.
Would you really want your dog retrieving a fox that wasn't dead?
No, I don't want to take a live fox in the hand. Thank you very much.
Honestly, this is getting better, isn't it? This is getting better. This is getting better. So I wonder if these Munsterlanders that are bred with spaniels have got a soft mouth.
Actually, most of the ones I know, and I know a few because of quite a few of my friends are on, they actually do seem to have a softer mouth than a lot of the other pointers.
There you go. There may be a point in mixed breeding.
Yeah, could well be.
To bring the line back in to trim what you want. So what about hard mouth then, Nigel? Are you checked for your spaniels for hard mouth before you get your certificate?
No.
Not interested.
As long as they don't actually chew it up. I mean, we had a situation today. One of the dogs didn't bring the duck it was supposed to bring, and they had to go and find the dog, and it had been chewing on the duck, and that was a poodle pointer.
Poodle pointer. It's getting worse.
You probably never heard of half of these things.
Poodle pointer. A fighting dog. Honestly.
Yeah, I think they can have they don't want to have hard mouth.
Exactly so. Exactly. I'm having a laugh, but you're dead right there. That's what I'm saying, Chris. Even the GSPs are bred. There is a world in difference between German lines and the French, Italian lines. I mean, the Italians wouldn't fight anything, but they keep changing their minds who they want to support. The French, ooh la la. Hey, if you've seen the French shooting in this country, I don't want to go shooting with the French. Honestly, anybody who's been out with a French party shooting, I wouldn't want to go out with the French with dogs or without dogs. I'll stay at home on that one.
Put your helmet on.
You freaking put your helmet on. It's the same as sailing. They don't give a shit. The French just point the boat and go, I'm going there. They don't give a shit what's in the way. That's ooh la la attitude. Now, I'm not having a go at our little French friends over there. Everyone to their own. But what I'm saying is, where do you draw the line between, do you want a soft-mouthed dog? What about noise, Nigel?
They don't really seem to care about that.
No one cares about noise.
No, it's quite distressing. Even
Distressing.
amongst,
It's distressing. I found it friggin' distressing.
especially amongst some of the Labradors here. Even they're pretty noisy.
What about the Munchlanders? Are they got less noise because they've got spaniel in them?
They're not that noisy actually.
Hey, think about it, everyone. Think about it. Hey?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what from experience which ones are noisy. But I mean, they want noise in dogs when they're chasing.
They want noise in. Hear this, everybody? They want noise in dogs when they're chasing.
Yeah,
Honestly,
if they're after a hare, they expect it to bark. They actually put that as a plus on their papers.
Yeah. And if you think about it, if you've got a dog that clears off long distance, it's nice to know where it is when it's barking, isn't it?
Yeah, it drives you mad.
It drives you mad.
The thing is that they push the hares out so far away, you can't shoot the fuckers anyway. So.
Here's Michael says, shot geese in Orkney with French, holy fuck, dangerous guns. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. I think it's bred in them, isn't it? Is it the ooh la la attitude, isn't it? We don't give a shit. Honestly, I know two people who've been peppered by French shooting parties. They have not got a clue. They've got no etiquette. That if it flies, it dies is their attitude. There's none of that. Oh, that bird's too low. I'm not going to shoot at that. That's not a safe bird. But the problem is, if you say it the way it is, you could fall out with everybody.
Yeah.
Because what have we done tonight? We've rubbished the Americans.
I'll probably get thrown out of Germany.
We've shafted the French. The Germans don't want to talk to us. Yeah, Michael says barking springers are a thing in Ireland. Someone just love them. Yeah. I've been there. I've been there and watched it.
Michael said it's a poodle pointer, a duck dog then.
Well,
it will bring ducks, but it's not its special area as far as I know.
No, a poodle pointer isn't actually a mongrel. It's a pointer, and it's a fabulous water retriever. Oh, not a poodle, as in 00. A poodle pointer.
I had no idea where they come from, those actually.
I thought you meant poodle cross pointer. Thank you for that, Sol. Thank God for that. He's got this book. So
he's got the big book of pointers.
So I know you're an authority on these pointers. Come on, tell everybody on here this book. If you're into pointers, this is the book you've got to buy because it's got so many pictures in there as well as knowledgeable instruction into these dogs. Can you just mention the author and the book for anybody out here who wants to get into the sort of pointer or poodle pointer? I thought Nigel says poodle pointer, not puddle pointer. Puddle pointer makes sense, doesn't it? Get in a puddle, get in the water.
Get in a puddle.
Puddle pointer. Just shows, doesn't it? Eh? Just shows. What is it?
I think we have more different variation of breeds here than most countries. There's an awful lot of different breeds here.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? A mixed bag, isn't it?
Well, there's an awful lot. I think it's quite a lot of specific different jobs. I mean, we've got these dachshunds, the what they call them in English, dachshunds. The old sausage dog. But people use them as handbag dogs in the UK. Here, the use for their original job was actually for flashing badgers and foxes.
Yeah, they're renowned in this for being feisty little buggers, aren't they?
They are real feisty little, but they're totally fearless and got no brain.
Exactly, and that's the sort of dog that some people want. Fearless and no brain.
You're going to go for foxes, and they're brilliant on wild boar because the little you see the video I sent you. They'll bite on and they just don't give in. They're a bit like Man United hooligans.
They have loads of them breeds here too. They're called mongrels. Mongrels owned by morons. Stop it. No, but if you think about it, the little sausage dog, they're a wonderful little dog, They make a beautiful little family dog. They're very protective. They let you know when someone's knocking on the door because they bark like shit, like non-stop.
Oh yeah, they do.
Right. And we used to have one when we were kids, but we used to have a spaniel bitch as well. And when the spaniel bitch come in season, we used to put her at the top of the stairs in a dog basket at the top of the stairs. You know, we used to have a top of the stairs in them days. I don't know if you still got like a landing, like a little square area. That's where we used to put the spaniel bitch because of the little sausage dog was a dog and that was a bitch, and we didn't want to mix breeding. So don't you think that was a wonderful idea?
Might have been quite an effort from the dachshund.
Have you ever seen a dachshund trying to get up the stairs with an hard on? Stop it. Shouldn't laugh at your own jokes.
Jake the Fake with his extra leg.
Especially Jake the Fake with extra leg. Don't let's talk about Rolf Harris. Not on here. So I think it's very interesting, Nigel. We've actually talked about dogs most of the night tonight. Is there anything anybody else wants to talk about? You know, snaps or anything like that? Nigel can give you any information. I've been to Germany twice. One by Lufthansa. That's a German.
Airlines.
Who?
German airline, yeah.
But unfortunately, being dyslexic, I get to the airport and he goes, "Where are you going? Where have you come from?" I said, "I've just come off a Luftwaffe." They would not freaking. They didn't take it. They didn't take it as. I didn't even say it as a joke. But on reflection, I now understand why they took offence.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Nigel?
Definitely.
But the plane I was on was Lufthansa, was it?
Lufthansa.
Yeah, Lufthansa. Well, being dyslexic and watching all those war films, I said Luftwaffe.
I've just come over with a Luftwaffe.
Yeah, just come over. They didn't think it was funny, and they all carry guns. But I found Germany really, really clean, very, very. Everything's done very precise, and the trains are on time, and the planes are on time in comparison to everywhere else. Am I right, Nigel, or not?
You are to a great degree. It certainly was that way when I came here first of all, but it's not like it used to be. It's got a lot worse, but it is still a country that's very, very organised.
And very clean.
Very clean. And sometimes they organise things too much. I mean, you have to have, like you saw with the hunting, you have to have you have to have a piece of paper for everything. You even have to have you have to do an exam for fishing here.
Yeah. Frank Casey said, "Are you trying to get Nigel deported?" No, not at all.
Probably.
Not at all.
I'll buy myself a rubber boat and come to England. I can live in a nice 4-star hotel for a while.
Michael says that we have a wee dachshund up the road here. He keeps on servicing the neighbour's black Labrador. The lab owner made a fortune over COVID, £1,500 a pop. Jesus Christ, what do you call a lab cross dachshund? Can somebody tell me, please?
Dashing lab.
Steve Bay says, "Is he called Footlong, Michael?" Footlong, Michael. Stop it, you lot. You lot are getting worse, honestly. We've only got 24 people in the house, and I understand why. We've covered so many Gundogs tonight. We've just freaking messed people's heads up, haven't we? I found tonight very, very interesting, Nigel, and I thank you for coming on, because it's nice to have another voice on here, and we have a different approach to the evening. So I want to thank you for that. Is there anything else you can tell us that Germans... Dashador.
Dashador.
That's freaking something to do with reindeer, isn't it? Something to do with Rudolph, isn't it? Adolf the Dashador. Can I ask you a question then, Nigel? How many people call the children Adolf in Germany these days?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I don't know of any Adolf.
You don't? You think there'd be lots of Adolfs around, wouldn't you? Really?
If you go back to the very, very sort of the pre-war generation, the very, very old people, you might find the occasional Adolf nowadays, but it's not exactly modern anymore.
And-
Dashador, one of my colleagues at work bought one.
Sorry, Sue.
Abigail said Dashador, one of my colleagues at work bought one.
Oh, there you go. Look, Aberdeen French Dashador
Feel
one.
sorry for the dog.
A Dashador.
Yeah,
Crikey.
yeah.
Do they?
So do some have larger legs than others? Imagine you had the front legs of the Labrador and the back legs of the. But if you had the back legs of the Labrador and the front legs of the Dachshund, the nose would be on the ground all the time, wouldn't it? It ain't going nowhere, is it?
It would have been like it'd be like a dragster, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got to get it the right way round, else you're going to get the nose up in the air. It's going to be taking in too much ground, isn't it? If the back legs are small and the front legs are big, you're going to get it wind sent in and pulling on, aren't you? But if you do it the other way round and you've got the front legs that are small, you get one that's got that genetics that the front legs are small and the back legs are big. You have the nose on the floor, aren't you, if you think about it?
Abigail said the pics look silly. I'd love to see a pic.
Yeah, please send us the pics. Please send us the pics. We want to see this. We want to see this. Has it got the long freaking ears? It couldn't run through a pigsty without you.
How long's the body?
He went to the country of origin for the dogs, went to the top breeders and workers and worked, photoed them all over the years. But come on, you've got to tell us his name. Oh, there he is. Yeah, well done. Well done, so. Yeah. Is he Polish? Yeah, and that's what Sol showed me, that book. It's an absolutely beautiful book. It's not cheap, but Sol can afford it. Other people have to save up for it, but you could. What about the body of the Labrador and the stop it,
Oh my God.
in the pocket? Stop it. Imagine that in it. Imagine it had the small legs, and it had to bring back,
And the body of a Labrador.
and it had to bring back a deer.
Do they have?
Might struggle a little.
Do they have different breeds because of the game they got to?
Sorry, Sue. Say it again, please.
Do they have different breeds because of the game that they have to retrieve? You know, it's not the bird.
Sue's asking this question, Nigel, and I'd like you to answer it because I'm going to just. Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's where the original idea was. The pointers originally for pointing, and then you got your dachshunds, which were for badgers and foxes for literally going down the holes. They're brilliant at that. I think the fact that they work well on wild boar is something that came later on. But then you got your what they call Schweizhunder, which are just literally blood trailing dogs. There's three pedigree sorts of those, and they are amazing. They'll follow a blood trail 5-6 kilometers, and it's even overnight. There are definitely specific breeds for specific types of hunting.
So what about, when you do this certification then, and you do this trail, and it's overnight, and you're supposed to go out there and then prove the dog can do that. What about scenting conditions, Nigel? Because scenting conditions can make a hell of a difference.
It does. You'll probably find that actually, even if it's rained overnight, the dog will still manage to do it.
Because a scent trail only lasts so long.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily the blood scent that they're after. It's actually the wound scent. They actually the dog will actually pick up on the scent that the animal gives off in its hooves through the fact that it's been injured. I've actually, I think I told you, I did a little video about one of the training sessions on blood scenting a while back. I posted up. I don't know if I put it in the group or I put it in the open Corleone talk, but that was a training day we did. But my dog, I've actually done a 500 meter or 500 yard scent after an injured deer I shot. And a spaniel can do a scent trail as good as any other dog. But they say any dog can do a reasonable job on the blood trail.
Yeah. So is it a must that you must wear Eiserhosen when you actually go out?
No.
What do you mean no? What do you mean no? I was
the time when we go hunting over here, we look like the refuse collectors. We have to wear orange if there's more than 3 of you.
So Sound of Music waste of freaking time then. They were dressed immaculately in the Sound of Music, Eiderhosen and all that.
I haven't got any hills to be alive in around here. It's as flat as a billiard table where we live.
So do they celebrate by slapping their legs?
You got it mixed up with Austria. That's Bavaria. Bavaria, Austria.
Well, they're next door to each other, aren't they?
Well, you know that stuff I brought you over. If you drink enough of that, you'll start slapping your legs and all.
I tell you what, that's the only drink that's sat on the side, Nigel, and I've really hit it gently.
I thought it was nice. I thought when you drank it on the live feed, that was good.
We got Barry Lamb in the house. I see he's just come in. Everything outdoors. I go. Hope you're well. Barry was talking about one of his ferrets. Unfortunately, lost one of his little ferrets, but he reckoned he had one of these ferrets that would go down and actually suck blood out the rabbit and lay up and sit there and sucking blood. It just shows vampire ferrets, but it's back to that same scenario, isn't it? If you were brought up with ferrets, and there's great fun with ferrets, and I think somebody working a ferret on a hillside, putting the ferret down, and rabbits are coming bolting out, shooting them, having your dog steady, and then sending your dog for them. Instead of netting, I'm not a big fan of netting myself, but each to their own. And I'm not knocking it in any way, but it's like it depends where you've come from in your youth, doesn't it? Some people really love ferreting and love netting, and some people just love shooting and working the dogs and putting the dogs under that temptation. Some people love like Steve says, you can't beat a lurcher for foxes. Some people would never think of that, and other people, country lads, have had that sport over the years. It's one of them things that we're losing, aren't we? We're losing that, like I watched a podcast today. The amount of kids these days don't get up and get out. They sit on the internet. They go to school, they come home. The first thing they want to do is play computer games. Hey, there's nothing wrong with a certain amount of computer games, but you can't beat that country way of life, can you? If you're brought up with the country way of life and you've got someone who taught you those things of how to set up a snare and how to set up a trap, some people will slag it off and say you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that in today's society. But it was the country way, wasn't it? It was the same with one of our members was talking about taking eggs. And some people would say, oh, that's not unfair, you shouldn't be taking eggs. But if you take one egg and not take, it's down to principle, isn't it? And as a kid, you might think different than you might as an adult, or you might think now. But it's a thing that we're losing because of modern technology in a way, isn't it? And yet, how many people on here have had so much wonderful fun working dogs, working their ferrets? It's a way of life, isn't it? And we're like-minded people. We've had a laugh tonight. We've had a joke. Some of you may have learned some stuff, and some of you might not have found it very entertaining. Nigel, we're 7 minutes over, and I only do an hour on here.
We're doing all right.
So I'm blaming you, all right? No, we still got 24 people in here, so you must have done something right tonight, Nigel. And I want to thank you. People are detached from the land. Industrialized farming means fields are now 10 acres and less people working the land. Sad. It is the best time I have when you're out with your dog, in my opinion. Exactly, Steve. And that's what I wanted to finish on. It's horses for courses. Some people would look at it and think, oh, that's terrible. You shouldn't be doing that. But if it's legal, or you can get away with it. Shut up. There you go. Let's still freaking write it.
What Soul's just put up. That's a good point.
What's that? Read it out to me, Nigel.
That's the slight issue with versatile dogs. They often get confused with the job they are on, pointing, flashing, tracking, or whatever. He's quite right about that.
Or what? He didn't say whatever.
You've got a versatile dog.
No, hang on. I'm dyslexic. I was reading what you were reading. Tracking or what? Hiking?
That's the slight issue with the versatile dog. Michael, they often get confused with which job they are on. Pointing, flashing, tracking, or I don't know what the last one is.
That's what I'm saying. Is he fucking hiking?
Lickling.
Lickling or hiking?
Never heard that one.
Putting a thumb out and getting a lift. Graham Allison said Nigel's done us proud. Let's just have a thank you for Nigel. Killing, thank God. Killing, freaking how to confuse a dyslexic person and a part German. Oh no, he's not German. He's English. Everybody. He just sounds like he's from freaking. when you look at it, chitty chitty bang bang, that bloke in the toilet who goes up in the air, Grandad, that's our Nigel. Right. So if you can imagine Grandad going up in the frigging what's name with the old what's name, and you know, with your military background, Nigel, aren't you? All your life, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, not all my life, but a good portion of it, yeah.
Yeah. I thought exactly, yeah, licking. Yeah, I thought it was licking. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for that, Nigel. Much appreciated. Great chat.
My pleasure.
Take it easy, boy. Bye-bye.
And you, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So there you go, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. A bit different tonight. And I like to bring people in from the group. What a lovely guy he is, eh? Wasn't that a good crack, as we say? 10 minutes past the freaking hour. Honestly, you lot, you just get extras, don't you? Extras. Stop it. Great night. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take it easy. Kristen Sue signing off. She's been made redundant in the background, hasn't she?
Yeah, about a day off.
She's had a day off. Another day off. Catch you all later. Good night.